Welcome back, everyone, as we're all knotted up 1-1, getting ready for map number 3, and you couldn't have asked for a better matchup between these two titans of our sport. That being said, though, when you really talk about a titan, you got to talk about the Goliath that was Sugetsu. Oh my goodness, this man was just on fire, and this kind of feeds right into what we were talking about. NAVI coming out of EMEA. Yes. Sugetsu was always that consistent piece for this team, and it's... I mean,
thanks for finding a cinnamon for Demon. I really appreciated that. No, but obviously we know that Sugetsu thrives in this international stage. It was the clutches, it was the multi-kills, it was those rounds where you needed him the most. This settings inside his ultimates, knowing how to work around the timings for everything, the awareness that he has of the space that he's given is just beautiful to watch.
And it really flipped the narrative because the first map was defined by NRG's late round prowess. When it came down to those last second executes into sight, it was players like and Crashies clutching things up consistently. But in this map, it completely turned around. And while Sugetsu was the catalyst to get them back into it, it was really a team effort to close that one out.
Yeah, completely. We were talking about how good the retakes were for NRG on that first map. On this second one, it wasn't that brilliant. It wasn't that good. And not only that, CNET on the other side is having an amazing performance. Right now, he has a 74% success in that first kill. That is insane.
He's had a lights-out series, undoubtedly, as well, as we take a look at the team breakdown and see like what we ended up really walking out with here. I think the question that stays on my mind, Mimi, is even though it was 14-12, Doombro said we were cooking up some surprises. I mean, if the surprise was that, you have some really sick players on your team, then I feel like, wow, we were all caught off guard.
That's a good surprise. I'm happy about that surprise. But looking at the second half for NRG, I think one of the biggest failures of their defense was the way in which they were using this Neon. A lot of their ideas seem to be dedicated into having Victor off. In the last part of that game, he was constantly committing into that. Yes. And I think it hurts one of the main strengths of this Neon, which is to go for early aggression for space, to be a fast rotator, and to use the stuns to stall out executes. When your Neon's opping, you really freeze them in place. And you saw it in the way they were fighting for a rubble constantly. In this round, they're trying to fight forward the op, get rolled over, and then Navi turned it around after winning this one and realized out of the timeout, hey, they're probably going to stop aggressing. So they just go straight and contact into that space. Normally, this Neon comp is good because it's so flexible, but I think NRG got too locked into one idea.
Yeah, also I think that's something that the casters mentioned, and it was very important, specifically on this map. It was the pauses, right? The times that the coaches were taking to speak to the team. We know that Navi used to both on the first half. They needed to, of course, because if they lost this map, it would have been a 2-0. But the fact that that change, that swift into what happens in the round of not being so aggressive is also addressed by Navi. Doombros knew in that moment that that conversation was taking place, and it was a moment to also address what the response was going to be to what they were going to change onto the map.
Yeah, and it worked out beautifully for them, right? Obviously, pick up the map win as we take a gander at the series layout. You're just joining us. Boy, oh boy, you've missed out on a fantastic series, whether it was...
Good morning, if you're from EMEA.
I know, right? The close start to Ascent that ended up to the expertly called attacking side for NRG, to this closely contested battle on Lotus. Now we shift our sights over to Split, the final battleground that will determine who will walk away with this win and who will advance in this bracket. Mimi, Split is a great map, I think, for both of these teams to just kind of settle the score on.
Yeah, it really is. And for NRG in particular, this is another map actually similar to Lotus, where they started pretty weak at locking it into America's on. It was struggling to find their stride. But in playoffs, they switched over to playing this double duelist composition that I think worked really well for them. Not only does it enable Artis and Victor to be incredible as individuals, but it gives them a lot of options for pops and for fakes in the mid-round on their attacking side that Finesse loves falling around.
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, we're talking about the double duelist plus a double controller, a lot of setting up the space exactly to know what you control, what you can give up, when you can put the pressure on, how you can have that presence all over the map.
But on the other side, it's a question of what Navi is going to pick. They played a million different comps on this map. 4 maps. They go to one that's pretty reasonable, pretty meta.
I mean, we were not going to go back to the Eurojet.
Yeah, I just love that we introduce these new graphics and then we show like how many times they've picked this percentage and Navi 0. It's just great every single. I mean, granted though, they have had C0. They're just always looking to change things up here. But Mimi, I mean, what's really sticking out to you from this Navi composition?
I think what's sticking out to me is it seems like they're putting an emphasis on putting CNET on the race. 2 maps now where their most normal comp was playing with the Jett, they're pivoting to this Raze again. And I think not only is that a comfortable role for CNED, but it also gives him a lot of value for early space.
It's also necessary for him. He was being put on the Euro, on the Omen, something that could not fit him, and he's not necessarily going to have to be there, but he wants to be a top duelist. It has to be the Jett. It has to be at least the Raze. You cannot be just going on that ultimate. Again, they move away also from the Cypher. They go straight to that Killjoy. So, of course, there's a lot of adaptation. Let's see if they can actually show it on the map.
It's going to be exciting. That much is for certain, but we've got one more map. The winner takes on T1 in the upper bracket. Loser's going to face EDG in the lower, and of course, we're sending it right back over to Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. Bala, we may be one map away from this series ending, but it's matches like these. It's clashes between these two teams just like this that just live on.
Yeah, and it sets the stage for the rest of the tournament between these two teams who definitely a lot of people consider contenders. Definitely are these types of teams who can win tournaments, have proved it in the past, have champions on their team. And I couldn't ask for a better third map. Split is going to be so fun. And to touch on the comps a little bit here, seeing it on the Raze, I think Mimi was talking a lot about how that looks pretty good for him now that we've seen it on Lotus. But Kakuka was talking about how they're going for it over and over now, this Raze, which is, I think, what they've been struggling with the entire time. The entire season, just trying to figure out exactly how these roles are going to work out.
They seem to find comfort in that pick for sure.
And the difference, I think, the double duelist out of NRG, I think this is a pure counter towards that, trying to bring the KJ, which is not the Sentinel of choice for most teams on this map.
It is different. You're right about that.
And coming in with the double controller as well, it's essentially the Lotus comp, just with a Sky instead of a Fade. And oftentimes the reason for that Cypher being better on this map is because those cages can allow you to lurk. And also, there's not as many good lockdowns on this map.
Meanwhile, there are a plethora of good cams.
Yeah.
Plenty good trip angles. You're absolutely right.
Now, Sugetsu was getting caught a lot in mid during their playoffs bout against Team Liquid. Not too long ago. We'll see if he cleans that up. That's very important against his double duelist comp, which can come with some pace.
Deep flash into garage, finding some info for Zipan. No real way to confirm what's on the other side. Finesse is going to be the first there. An Artist on the swing, aggressive, the dash away, leaving Finesse to die. Trashies follows suit shortly thereafter. But great response. There's still a shot at this. It's gotten down to 2. It's gotten down to 1. But Xiao's healthy, while the 2 remaining members of NRG are not.
So, better weapons for them.
It's a good point. Just a classic.
He could pick up a Ghost right here or Frenzy, either one possible. But he spots them both, actually. And a great movement on the rope.
The light armor's gone. The health is gone. Artist from that distance with the Frenzy getting the pistol for NRG.
Just not able to land the shot. I thought the movement was great there. Actually able to tuck back on top of that rafter as he hit the rope. With the double swing, really nice from Artist. And Som. Those last 2 players. And again, I think this KJ specifically picked to try to stop the pace that is possible from NRG. They're going to have to adapt fast to that sort of idea, because you've seen in the past NRG really come out fast and furious. Though they've also shifted gears plenty of time.
Angel taking some space mid, Som there to greet.
That's a beautiful angle from Som.
Yeah, it
Not
is.
one that I've seen before, but on those anti-ecos, you just find those to be so easy. Because you're looking for one-taps. And you're taking risks on the swings.
You can see Xiao there crouched, waiting for someone to swing, for someone to dare challenge him. And he's crept up a little bit further here.
Like how Finesse just doesn't react to the flash at all.
Just takes it.
It's probably in the middle, looking at the mini-map or calming something. Doesn't matter, though. This is where Finesse shines. Not in these anti-ecos, just on this map in particular. It is such a mid-round heavy map. You have to be strong at that. I think the battle between Finesse and Angel, in that regard, has been going towards Finesse over the entire series mostly.
30 seconds left.
Obviously Lotus, Angel had some peaks. especially in the early round calling.
Yeah, but on average, I would agree with you completely. Artist gets open or onto CNED.
That's huge. Artist has not been winning those battles. I mean, we saw it. After the first map, the stats were brutal. After the second series, Artist is 7-11 against CNED in general. And CNED is 17-6, plus 11.
Jeez.
And that's in first duels only.
CNED's been performing exceptionally well.
So is Artist.
Yeah, he's starting to eco-frag a little bit.
Enemy remaining.
Well handled. Very well handled. Prime gaming flaws for NRG.
That man caught the bird in his legs.
He did. He did.
Same start that NRG had. They finally do get a pistol. Again. That's 2 for 5. Most of these bonuses, in most cases, it's been NAVI playing them. But NRG did win the one on Lotus. Remember that streak? They went up 6-0. 6-0. Those starts were very momentous for NRG. I think NAVI has broken that sort of idea, though. I don't think they're going to be coming in the same amount of bunches on this map.
Yeah, Split really just doesn't lend itself to that quite the same way, but I do think you're right. There's a lot of what NAVI seem to have been figuring out that should prevent that. Dash into the Cloud Burst, right into the Nano.
It's an updraft, though.
Manages to stay alive. Victor goes aggressive. Upgrades a weapon, too.
And that's space taking by the double duelist right there. Surprises Xiao on the site.
They're into Spawn, and you can see they're going to want to cut off the rotation. They're going to want to keep NAVI at bay.
Whew.
And you're not expecting a second heat. Well, okay, never mind. Angel was.
You are. That's all off because of the nade, though. Paranoia is going to allow him to retake that space, but with the Trailblazer, too.
At that distance, so I don't think it's going to get much info on the site.
Look at the star that Sam just placed, too. Angel has no way out. It has to be these two coming from heaven.
Can they find space? Crashy's down low with the Sheriff, getting the first. The flash to swing. Looking for another, and he finds it.
Angel's out.
I mean, another bonus for NRG.
Yeah, 3-0 start. That's huge. Angel does save the gun, though. This is one of those situations that is actually weird because the money's not there to buy. Or actually, there is plenty of money. All right, look at it. This flash. Is Zippon's able to turn that? I mean, he's definitely dueling with Crashies there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crashies the one player who really didn't have a weapon there. And as you can see, there is definitely like 3K, lots of people buying armor here. I'm surprised Angel, when we've seen in the past, he gives up that rifle over to CNED. I think in here, you definitely, the 800 credits for him to try to, able to have a buy, he needs to get a kill or two.
Yeah, he got one. Rifle picked up from CNED. Not able to find any value with it.
And that's, I mean, CNED needs to be backing off there as fast as possible. They pushed into the B site, and Sugetsu can be able to recover this weapon. Investment of the Seekers from Crashies to maybe find some push here.
Does Artist follow them? Yes, he does. Spotting one.
That's crazy.
It's bold.
They heard the rope for sure, though.
You see it from Sugetsu, crosshair trained. Crashies, do you dare swing? Do you dare peek? Drop on the first. And the confirmation of the second up high. But the timing's not great. NRG win the round anyway.
Very nicely handled to bring them up to 4. That bonus, winning both of the attempts that they've had so far. Very hard to recover from.
One enemy remaining.
I think another thing we have to talk about is we've seen 2 maps that have been very swingy.
Yep.
Right? Ascent, very heavily defensive sided. Lotus can be very heavily attack sided. Split does not operate the same way.
Oh yeah,
So a lead like this, Bala, is significant.
Yeah. And especially right now, I mean, the comps make such a difference. Look at this dash from Artist. Goes for the right click on Sugetsu, and that's what I was talking about. He got punished a lot in middle during their playoffs run.
It's a very good point. A pause across the middle of the map for NRG.
Oh my goodness, CNED as well with the op. Gets the money up.
He's got to get the kill.
High-lows.
That's just, yeah, that's just such an unexpected angle.
He's so high that the crosshair placement's nowhere near.
You didn't even see him in the scope.
And now they're messing with the economy significantly for NAVI. There's no chance they get another buy, buying up an op in that situation. Xiao's in trouble.
He's trying to tuck tail. He's flashed, manages to get around the corner with 68 HP and too many targets to find. He cannot deliver. Angel's left alone. It does look like he's going to pick up that op, though.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, it's not even necessarily has to. But obviously, that's such a good weapon to have when the rest of your teammates are not going to be able to buy up. NRG should know that he's going to look to pick up the op.
Or does he just keep the Vandal?
I mean, yeah, he's doing it. That's the choice made.
Does not look like Angel will be found as the round expires. But NRG, much like we saw on map 1, much like we saw on map 2, they find themselves winning rounds in bunches. Another streak.
I mean, you're looking at 6-0, just like Lotus. Just as I was thinking, you're going to have a shift. Streaky or not, NAVI have fought back so many times. They only fell flat on that second half of Ascent. Every single other time, they've come back slightly. On Lotus, when they went down 6-0 at the beginning, they ended the half 8-4. Respectable little comeback. Again, when they went down in the second half, when they lost up, almost gave up match point, they swing it back.
This is now the third map in a row where NAVI called a timeout early in the first half. And again, it's in the face of a streak.
Yep.
You understand why.
Eyes on the prize right now for NRG.
Meanwhile, for NAVI, they have to cauterize and capitalize the bleeding that has taken place.
There's a lot of tools here, too. Again, to consider. At least NAVI has their own. In terms of ultimates, on board right now, Sam has his Cosmic Divide. Victor has his Showstopper for NRG. For NAVI, it's the Viper's Pit and Seekers. So potentially they can shut down one side. Maybe it's middle. Out of this timeout, we just saw Artist try to punish Sugetsu and get success with it. And look at this buy out of NAVI. It's very interesting.
That is different.
Sugetsu's getting one rifle, Angel again with a rifle of his own, and the rest are sheriffs, so going for a little hero buy.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to a point you were making earlier where we've seen Angel in instances like this hand the rifle off to their star duelist.
Yeah.
This time Cena just with the sheriff. Cosmic Divide instantly invested. Shao, discipline box, but very well handled by Artist. You hear the Showstopper used too. As Artist goes up top, gets you there to greet. The double duelist.
Wait, this orb is really bad for CNET to actually get some space. He's gonna get both kills.
How much more can he find? It's become a mess. It's become a complete mess.
Oh, the secret doesn't get broken either. I don't think Finesse could see it, as Sam has not been spotted by it yet, so it doesn't show up on the minimap for him. It doesn't show up on his screen visually. But Zippon gets on the site with it.
CNED with 3. Finesse left alone in a clutch. Spike not in hand.
And now if I'm NAVI, I want Zippon to take first contact so CNED can end up, if Finesse gets close to them, using that Showstopper and trying to solidify the round. Probably not going to come to that, though.
Finesse creeping his way around. Quietly, but with intent.
That jump spot just goes to where we just cleared with the flash.
First couple shots not landing.
Oh!
Showstopper, and it lands on the kill. CNED with 4, NAVI on the board.
Pretty critical use there. Hey! Evil Geniuses fam in the house. That's the next game coming up against DRX. Papa Com and Mama Com.
Given this series, I'm not ready to get there yet.
No, not even close.
I want to stay here.
But that is sending a team to playoffs, which is crazy. Again, just the difference between what this matchup is right now. It's an opening match. Neither team ready to send their ticket up in the playoffs.
Oh, aggression.
Normally that's definitely punishing Zip on there, but he's ahead of the stun.
Victor not able to find the space.
Defensively, in order to counter that sort of idea, you have to do a lot of creative stuff by peeking a main, that sort of idea. But there's a bunch of straight up fights.
Is often lost. Crashing at wheel and unseen and investing in Secrets. The flash on the other side of the wall. He's gone rogue. He's going solo and he's finding value.
1 HP for a moment with that decay.
Talk about putting the team on your back. At least in this round.
And he keeps it to a 3v3 with that kill on the Angel, and also that makes it difficult because he could have easily had smokes up at this point. Now it unlocks some key tools from NRG in their strat book. They can dry walk, they can pop smokes and walk behind them, and it will be the dry walk choice.
Sam, up in heaven. Oh,
what?
Yes. What on earth was that?
I'm sorry, what?
That one's ending up on Reddit. Xiao's going to be left in this 1v3 situation where both Crashies and Finesse are weak. But he's so far away, he's not even going to try. I need to go back to this Crashies play. Because, as you know, not all kills are created equal, right? That kill stabilized the round, right? Victor had just used his, had just satcheled up forward. He didn't find any space. He didn't find any value. He single-handedly makes a play to get things back to 3, as you said.
Yeah. Zipana ends CNED falling in that instance, where they had advantage. And this is a reset round slightly for NAVI. Zipana and CNED somehow have 4K and 3.8 respectively, so you're definitely going to see another one of those weird hero rifle buys. Because of the way how these rounds have played out, the weapons have been saved. That pit's still not used from Sugetsu, by the way. Which, out of that timeout, I was really thinking was going to be considered. This moment right here is what you're talking about. Popping the Seekers, then insta-flashing through. That's a double peek that just gets sprayed down. And Angel knows. We can't be letting Finesse do that.
Not like that. Attack off in the hands of Artis, and he gets 2.
Kills are just coming in 2s. And the round's over. Trailblazer in, they spot the player. Second smoke, not available for some. He smoked off Mail, so there's room for Sugetsu to have some damage done. They're waiting for that to come up. Instead, it looks like he recalled it.
Interesting choice. Instead, they flash and go up towards heaven. Clear that out while Artis is holding the line, holding the space.
And to go back to that initial double kill out of Artis, the reason he goes for that peek is he's expecting NAVI to continue to swing based off of what success they had after Victor went for that double satchel last time. Just swinging in front of the sun, swinging in front of the flash, trying to take a 2v1. Artis just posts up instead, and that's why you can't do that. Instant punish in the worst of ways.
Blinded.
This patience from NRG is outrageous. Just waiting for things to go. Zipan, who's here by himself, managing to take down Crashies, but that's all it is. Spike should be secured.
He just took the site with 2 players. Finesse maybe threw a molly. Sam is on the other side of the map here. The dude is in mid.
NAVI once again in a position where they're just going to try to save the weapons that they have. A Phantom in the hands of Xiao. Bulldog for Sugetsu. You can see the defenses that they've put up around them. The alarm bot up in heaven, the turret to make sure no one's pushing spawn. Their objective is very clear here. Preserve what they have.
Crazy part about this too is the switch from NAVI to put one of Sugetsu or Xiao. Sugetsu usually is going to play always in mid or B. But to swap Xiao onto the A side is going to enable Victor to again go for double satchels there. So every single little thing that is finding success here for NRG is setting them up for the next round even still. If I'm NRG, I continue to keep the pressure up on that A side.
Superimposed upon one another. What can you really do? 6-round lead for NRG. And again, the potential of another streak Maybe not to the same degree, but the makings are all there. Navi are on a light buy. 2 sheriffs and then rifles, but certainly not full strength, not full force.
Oh, somebody did buy up a rifle. It's Angel. And that one.
There's one of the rifles. You've got
it's Sugetsu who falls. Remember, I keep talking about how he needs to not get punished in this middle. 3 times he's already dead at the beginning of the round.
CNET showing up here and picking up the weapon that was dropped. Angel trying to deal with 2 members dashing across the screen, flying across his face, and Victor the first to fall.
Oh, he's paranoid. No.
He has no idea. Whoa, he has no idea what to play from Angel.
A follow-up flash too. He can swing even further.
Houdiniing his way through that. But Finesse trading the kill back. And the spike's out. He's going to try to find his way through, but I don't think he's expecting Zip on behind him.
Angel TP'd across too.
Surprise, it's a gift.
Angel's in time. Star's coming in right now. He needs to obscure his position until he can get a guaranteed kill. No more TPs to get out either.
And remember, he did this. He's gotten them almost here by himself.
Oh, he gets out to play with Zip on instead. Not using the element of surprise, knowing he TP'd there earlier. They should be aware. Is there a recall?
Crashies.
Come on. Woo. It's the NRG formula right there. I mean, they just continue to walk until there's a gap, until there's some sort of information found. And that's how you find timings. If you don't explore as much as you can, you don't know whether you can take that shot. They need this. I mean, Zipon needs to pull out a 1v2 here to keep them in the game.
Which feels like such a big ask, given the spike has been planted for a little while. There's still a good bit of utility on the side of NRG. The flash being used there. Zipon trading back with one of his own, and Sam swings through and greets him. NRG at 8. And what a stomp this has become.
8-1. And we're in a situation again where NAVI are using their second timeout in the first half.
1 enemy remaining.
I mean, they need to win out.
Yeah.
Even whether or not this comp, whether you have a discussion about whether this comp is attack-sided or not, whether split is still defender-sided, it doesn't matter. This half starts to become untenable with any further rounds from NRG.
Doombros understanding the gravity of the situation, invests the last time out, as you mentioned.
Opting to leave his team to discuss here. Happy with it, what Angel's discussing with his teammates. But there's more than just strategy here. It's form for everybody. They're getting picked apart. I'm specifically thinking of Sugetsu in mid right now.
Yeah.
But there's many things to pull out if you're NRG. That A main pressure that they went for, the double satchel up ramp, flipping it with Artis opping on the angle. A surprise attack side out, by the way. He hasn't gone back to that since that round.
No, but he instilled the fear in Navi. You see it on the scoreboard. You mentioned form. There's a lot to be addressed here. You talked about Sugetsu and the fact that he continues to get picked. CNET has 4 kills. All 4 of them came in 1 round.
Yep.
He's struggled before then and since.
And he was the key factor in why they were at this position, why they're able to min map 2.
Yep.
It's that raise on Lotus. And while we said it looks comfortable, historically CNET has more struggled on the off-jet rolls. Not that he's been awful on the raise by any means. But Split is where those Jets who play and try to play that raise end up getting exposed when they're not completely formidable at the agent.
Victor picking up the orb. Artis with the dash proc, waiting to pounce. Backing on up instead. Jump spots, no headbound. Oh, you went a bit too far there.
Good re-clear from Navi. Finally some success. And I like this. Don't try to challenge the early aggression.
Can't use that yet.
Instead, opt to just go for re-clears.
That first flash and NRG finding, again, more room across the middle of the map. This time CNET. But
finally.
Punching back, yeah.
Some success in the round. And again, though, can't let this fall apart. They put themselves in a good position, need to punch their ticket further. It's only the second round that they're in position to win right now.
NAVI are a little bit ahead of this too. It's been a very slow round from NRG. And I wonder how much of that's giving NAVI room to breathe and adjust.
One enemy remaining.
It's all falling on Sam in this 1v3, and he can't convert. Zipon cleans it up, and that's a second round for NAVI.
Keep 3 players up. Keep all the ults online too. And NAVI really haven't been focused on those. I think Shao and Sugetsu have had their ult for, what, 4 rounds or so, more than that. Maybe the majority of this half at this point.
Yeah, very possible.
Okay, I like this from chat.
Me too.
Right now he has the opportunity to close out the half 10-2. If they succeed at that, I mean, the game is almost unthrowable. And because NAVI have already used the 2 timeouts, you're not giving much room for Doom Bros in the second half at all to be a factor.
We'll see what the adjustment is on the other side of this timeout. Again, remember for NRG, that last round was very cautious.
Yeah.
Given that they had double duelists, they explored Garage, they didn't fully pounce, even knowing that CNED was there with the Roomba, so they knew he was close. They got some space mid, and they had a split, and they chose not to burst out towards that. They were very careful. You want to hear what the adaptation is.
Y'all know what's coming. Okay, timer ticks. Let's go.
Ah, come on, man. Don't text us like that.
I'm just saying, that thing was stuck on 28.
That made you nervous a little bit. All good. 6-round lead for NRG. On the other side of this timeout, again, what are the adjustments? You've got Blades for Artists. You can't imagine he'll use that. But Victor with the Showstopper. And it's a spread look from NRG. Look at how far back. They still have 2 members in spawn.
They dodged the flash. See if there's another approach. The pit finally invested. Shao with a deep alarm bot too to help out Sugetsu before he rotates off.
And Victor's going to confirm where it is. That's going to have him rotate off. But as you're saying, NAVI now creeping back towards B.
Okay, so this setup allows them to give up mid. But you're right. If the hit doesn't come through middle, it's going to be towards B. They've got 3 players ready to receive.
Flash is traded. These last 2 rounds have genuinely felt like a chess match.
Moving the pieces on the board. Zipon clears out mid, which is a key tell. 50 seconds right now. Crash is going to dog through. And with the wall late. That's a tool that both teams using right now. And the Seekers pop to actually expose this split coming in at the same time. But is that too much pressure?
You mentioned mid was open, and that's where the spike is. Got a lot of space mid. They're contacting out onto the side. Angel.
Oh gosh, oh gosh. Finesse!
No,
where are you looking?
Oh my goodness! Finesse equalizes! Stabilizes, and Victor from up top with the ult gets another.
Just a ridiculous moment between the 2 leaders, and Angel's got to be kicking himself. That kill was available, but the flash gets full blind.
2 wise men to 2 blind mice. Sugetsu and Shao having to try to make a play out of this, and they cannot. Finesse with 3 on the round.
I mean, I've got to say, Finesse is playing out of his mind. In comparison to the Americas split that he had, it was rough, very rough. And yeah, at times he was a key factor in some of those rounds again, but it's bursts. Overall, the consistency's not been there from Finesse. Today, that's a different story.
Yeah, agreed.
Shao going for another save. I mean, 11 round played, no kills, 7 deaths.
Definitely not what you expect out of a player of his caliber.
This is crazy. The full flash, and he walks in front.
It's like finding a gift.
And that's the reason why that wall is there, by the way, because he wants to lurk all the way and take that 1v1 against Angel if it shows itself.
Different setup here. Remember in the previous round, it was a late wall out from Finesse. This time, early investment towards A.
Mostly been using this all game. Had so many tools, man. Shao's still not finding ways to find this lockdown. He's got to. It's round 12. He's got to find a way. And his teammates can't give up the site before he gets there. Again, that's the difficulty with this KJ. It's so hard to find useful lockdowns on defense. On attack, it's a different story. On defense, though, it is rough.
In a lot of ways, the slowing down of the attack side from NRG feels to me like they're putting the game, the ball, so to speak, in Finesse's hands, in his mid-round calling, in reading the map, reading NAVI.
And you just saw exactly that. And by the way, it's not like these two IGLs know the ins and outs of how they call, like we know between the battle from Finesse and Sadak.
Sure,
No,
sure.
These two guys have only played against each other once here in Valorant. And it's a classic Finesse fake, Seekers, Cosmic Divide. They walk up mid. Is Angel aware? Is he calling out the possibility?
There are 3 here, a refresh smoke. So he gets with a lot to do on the other side of the sword, manages to get around the corner just in the nick of time.
Lockdown used, finally Shout.
They're pushing into it anyway. Angel had nowhere to go. Artist on one side, Crashies on the other, and Sugetsu creeping his way forward at just the right time.
And there, oh, the nade broke it last second.
13 seconds left. Spike's still not planted. Tom finally getting it down. Pays for it with his life, though. Blades for Artist. Chooses to go with the bullets instead. Turns the flash, lands the shots. Both of them fall. And a 10-2 half for NRG.
That late half timeout from Chet, finding full success, and it's the most dominant half of the series. Crazy to see Shao, of all people, 0-8, but that's the problem with playing Killjoy in this map. That's the problem with playing off-roll on it, too.
One enemy remaining.
It's not as active. And now, at this point, playing 3 different roles throughout this season. Whew.
Again, a 10-2 half for NRG, a stop, a statement, call it what you want, but they are in firm control. We'll throw it down to the desk to break down the first half.
Thank you so much, fellas, for that one. And yes, we are now at a point where it is dangerous for Navi. I mean, we crossed that threshold quite a while ago, but now we're in real risky territory. But really, Kukuka, I think you got to give the flowers here to, the combination of Victor and Artist working together here to really bring success to this NRG team.
I think that especially during the first half of this first half, right? It was all about these 2 duelists holding hands, everybody setting the grounds so well, and it was a game of revenge as well, right? If one of them goes down, the other one will get the refrag, will keep pushing, will keep that energy flowing. The rest of it, I think it was a little bit like overcooking. I don't think that Navi was making things pretty hard onto them, but the performance from this 2 was just beautiful. On the other side, I'm just sad for Shao.
Yeah.
They're struggling right now on the side of Navi, and NRG just called an expert half. The way they can vary this double duelist comp from going for these really fast flood executes or doing that in the mid round and also throwing in a lot of these contact plays with their Viper utility was so hard for Navi to shut down. And now this brings into question all of the time in the regular season where they were going back and forth on comps trying to find their stride. Does that lose them the depth? Because it seems to here we're a 3rd map in a series that they had pushed to be so competitive, and now this is a map that they just don't seem prepared on.
We were also seeing Angel, for example, in the player cams, just feeling a little bit defeated, not actually being able to find the tools to actually go back from this.
Last time these 2 teams played, it was the core of Navi who went on to win the tournament, to beat them in the playoffs. Now they're at the face of being in the lower bracket at the start of groups. NRG has their revenge in their hands.
Well, Navi's on the struggle bus on the way to Struggle City. They're going to need to turn this one around if they want to have a chance to send it back over to Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. The questions are whether or not the bus can go into reverse. Because right now, it's just a full, I mean, all the way to Struggle City, as you said.
Yep.
Down 8. Now they're on their attacking side. You question what kind of plans they have set to try to bring this thing back.
And some of the benefits that they would have had in this comp, not realized on that defensive side, right? You can't really slow down a defensive side from the 2 double duelists. It's completely different now. All they have to do is convert 3 rounds. On attack side with this comp, when they have double controller and a sentinel in the KJ from Shao, that's asking a lot.
You see the setup trap already. Finesse is jump spotting. Artist is on the other side of ropes. Unexpected there.
Bombard in, and it gets broken before it spots the cross from Artist. This smoke needs to be refreshed, otherwise Victor's entering the fight too.
They are all here. They've all joined, and it's a 1-for-1.
With Victor showing himself, they might have a gap here, a timing towards B. Obviously, Som could be there jump spotting, anything like that, and they did not spot him. They're going to have to take their time, but we see there is a gap. Can they find it? What?
Yep. Seems like they can. Woo. Victor not finding anything. CNED with 2. Finesse trying to find some success here, and all he's finding is damage taken.
How is that guy alive? He's just getting pounded right there.
Crashy's healthy, but turret in his face. Finesse not nearly as fortunate
Last player standing.
as he falls.
It's like every second these NRG players peak, they're getting taken out. That first shot from CNED, very, very crazy to me. And that's the start. Pistol round. And they're 4 for 6 on those. Very, very important rounds. Nasty.
I'm still here, amigo.
Saddle up, Cowboy. We may be in for a good second half. But it's just one round. And again, you mentioned it, Baller. For as close as NRG are, they just need to win 3. Navi's road to redemption is much longer.
I mean, speaking of time, NRG's got it all. And they've already won Thrifty in this series. Much less weaponry than they had that last time, though. It was Stingers, that sort of thing. Sheriff's also invested. Right now, what they've bought indicates they're trying to get damage done. Navi doing the best NRG impression that they can, though. Dry walking up mid, no util used.
Victor with the nade, nothing spotted yet. That'll confirm things.
Alarm about to clear the smoke, too. Nade not used from Victor.
But Finesse does fall. And there's just really nothing that they can do to fight back. It was a flawless round from NRG.
Seems like those anti-ecos are constantly coming through as Prime Gaming flawlesses for Navi.
Yeah.
Over and over.
One enemy remaining. Flawless.
But again, we've talked about it a lot. They still have not converted a bonus despite having 3 attempts. This will be their 4th. And it's all the more important here. They need to get that same sort of streak going. I'm really curious how the KJ is playing here. Using the turret to spot whether Artis is going to peek out. And Artis is very aware of that position. They use a recall smoke to try to get it down, but Angel taking down Sama. Artis has given up that space.
It's a filthy shot, too.
Oh, dinked as well. Instantly. Only missed out. They're going to reclear. Look, Finesse is already on the hunt. 3 players from Navi able to receive.
And it's just, oh, it's a bit delayed. But Finesse punching back with 2. Paranoia in his face to spam through. It's not going to find anything.
And even if Finesse truly did fall back there, that paranoia still would have been a problem for him. Angel punches it through. And up in that close range, there's no way.
Planted.
Up and down he goes into the next round.
There we go. Hey, first bonus converted. That is finally going through Navi. They simply, if they won some of those bonuses, I mean, some of those maps would have been clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might have been looking at them winning Ascent very easily and looking like they stomped NRG instead.
Spikes here.
And you could have been looking at a very easy Lotus. At least to make that comeback in the initial spring of things.
That's just not nearly as fun, though, is it? Victor with the judge, no armor. Full rifles for Navi.
And remember, when Navi was in this position in the last half,
I don't think they've checked him.
they were buying up, you know, hero rifles here and there. NRG's not buying anything except this occasional judge here. And definitely a lot of sheriffs. But they're trying to get that econ rolling, specifically Artis. He's got enough money for an op next round. So it's much harder for them to convert these eco rounds, but it's not a focus of NRG's game plans. Outside of Stinger meta, they really haven't made it a focus, even back to the optic core. Yes, their sheriffs are very dangerous, but you're asking a lot still, given how good Navi have been on those anti-ecos.
Little damage.
Victor's got a pocket.
And he's been there this entire time. The Trailblazer did not spot him. It was cleared by Crashies.
He's just landing a molly on him. No.
He's still, I mean, he's just sitting there.
I mean, if they come from a heaven, it's not going to be a problem.
Oh, and if they just clean out everyone else on his team before he even gets a chance, it won't be either. And that seems to be the case. Forgot to kill the classic from that far away. 2 bullets left with the Sheriff. Neither fired off. And another round for NAVI.
I can't believe you pulled the classic to get the spike point kill, but there's no way you expect him there after all of that. Again, very good at Taiko from NAVI. Those are the sort of things that you really have to be good at if you're going to start a comeback from 10-2. I wouldn't even consider it started at this point. Just converting the bonus, that's not going to be enough. Normally a 4-round streak like that would put you right back in contention, but still, this gap, this deficit's so large. Up for Artist though, and he's in middle. Nobody there.
He's taking space though. He's creeping up.
Scout destroyed.
We're about to find out real soon that that's not where the play is.
Oh
Victor
God,
once.
oh God. Ah, no, not again.
Oh, we've seen this twice! And now he's got the showstopper, Victor with a third! In the face of the flash, satcheling to get away, not able to survive! But what a round from NRG!
That's twice he hides in a pocket. And that's twice they go for double dive. Angel and CNED together. Without having the real information. Without going into a smoke, nothing like that. They don't have the same tools. If you want to double dive like that, which has been a key point for them all year, you want CNED on Jet. This raised double dive is so dangerous. Either way, that's not the end of the world for NAVI, but NRG inch ever closer now. Only 2 rounds needed.
NAVI have 4 ults here. Early pit out from Finesse.
I wouldn't be surprised to see instant flash and CNED diving in with the showstopper, but they're not going for it.
And middle map is lost. NRG sent both their duelists up there already.
And something that all the other teams, when there's a single sky on this, they're sending 1 person on the other side of the map and 4 on the other.
Zipan has 2 flashes right now. What a tense moment. Will they expect him? There's the flash to turn. Artist dashes away, leaving Victor as the trap.
Another pocket.
It's been sprung. Do they take the bait?
There's no way.
Victor, patient. The flash doesn't hit. And they've crept right by.
Here comes the KJ ult, finally. On the attack side, it's up.
Victor
It's
with the
still
chance.
up from Finesse. He's not biting. He's not biting at all. He thinks it's a fake.
CNED, the first to fall. EC Sugetsu
Oh!
concerned about the other side of the map. While NRG get everything that they want. They establish control. They get detained.
Spike down.
Victor from up in heaven with 85 HP finds another. And things have gone horribly askew.
Can he get the spike?
Nothing found. NRG series point.
Match point.
3 rounds with Victor in the backlines finding immense value. They're NAVI pivoting with no map control. Off of the A hit at the beginning of the round, they see that pit up not to go for a push through, despite all their coins being invested towards that side. Every single player, every single pawn. And that hurts them so much. They don't recognize that Artist is opping. They don't recognize where Victor could be played.
And now NAVI find themselves in check. What is the response?
6 attempts here from NRG.
Artist looking for an angle. Holding the line with that op with Crashies close by. Meanwhile, all of NAVI are mid. Finesse is here. Gets one, gets away.
It's falling apart for NRG, or for NAVI.
Almost fell apart for Finesse there.
It's completely falling apart. Angel consistently not checking corners. And a lot of times it's NRG with a lot of misdirection. There again, Victor with the nade. He's the guy who's been tucking in cubbies. All right, so they see the nade comes from Mail, they back off.
Sam is in a position to, I mean, really spoil this. It's Xiao with the spike, and he's by himself.
He's been satcheled up there, by the way. And again, you've seen Victor. You don't think this position's possible.
Right.
I'm not sure if they've seen Artist, but knowing he has an op, there's no way they put him up there. CNED with a showstopper. He's going to be the entry here against Som.
30
Oh!
seconds left.
He doesn't see him at all.
Oh, the gravity wall keeps him back. There it is. They've got them all lined up. It's a 3v2. Xiao and Sugetsu find themselves onto the site with the spike. Reposition, just a temporary delay.
He has to be safe there with the threat of losing this series right now.
Can they get the pieces in the right place? Crashes from up top with a flash. Artist dropping down. It's a spam through the box. Xiao's so weak. Sugetsu falls. It's all onto Xiao. 18 HP left. Checkmate. NRG take down NAVI.
Incredibly important opening match. Artist in his first matchup against his former team. Huge performance out of him. And the first time we see this matchup between these two titans, as Golden Boy said. NRG with first blood. But I can't wait for the future battles. NAVI have a tall task ahead of them because they fall to the lower brackets of this group, and it's a group of death, mind you. But also facing a possibility of being in the same position as footballers or foot esports, who, as well in the opposite group, they're battling for a spot at Champions. What a difficult prospect to face when NRG is your first opponent.
All smiles, and probably the biggest smiles they've shown all day.
That's not smiling, bro.
No, that's a smile for Finesse, bro. What are you talking about? But the biggest smile, the biggest sigh of relief, and plenty of love from the crowd.
Yes. That was a hell of a performance.
Yes, it was.
Definitely one to be celebrated.
One enemy.
Despite losing Lotus in a very close fashion. I mean, they were in control this entire series.
Yeah.
Ascent went 13-8. Split goes 13-6.
One enemy.
That Lotus was fun, though.
And that was their attempt at counterpicking, too. Just went a little bit short.
Dude.
But you love that that's possible from them.
Yeah. Or so, I mean, just the fact that we had two specific instances where people were behind people and they had no idea because everyone was flashed. The whole series just delivered. And the fun thing is once the bracket came out, this was the one that we looked at and went, oh, this could be a banger. And did it not deliver?
This is holy crap. Not only are these guys in the same group, but it's the opening match. And Navi, I mean, the reason why that matchup was there was because of their struggles. Because they placed fourth in the MEA. Because they're not able to get one of those berths to playoffs instantly. It's their own fault.
NRG take down Navi, punch a ticket to the winners finals, and are going to take us to a break. We'll see you guys on the other side.
And in this incredible global rivalry that we have seen between NAVI and NRG, it's NRG who gets the better of their opponents here today with a 2-1 series win over NAVI. Welcome everyone, Golden Boy here alongside with Mimi as well as Kukuka. And let's just jump right into it because honestly, the big point coming out of the half, 10-2. It's a lot to come back from. You were asking a lot from NAVI, but also, I mean, I'm going to be real, they shouldn't have been in that position to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. I think that this could have perfectly been a 2-0 for NRG. I don't think that there was a moment in the entire series where we were like, oh my god, this is NAVI's for the taken. The things that they were showing are incredible. Definitely all this testing has led to a good port. It wasn't the case.
It felt like they were keeping their heads above water.
Yeah. Always trying to just overcome NRG.
Yeah, they did. And they tried new compositions and switch back and forth all throughout EMEA, and we thought they'd come in with something set here, and they did. I think these comps look better than a lot of the stuff they were experimenting with, but still, it split. It didn't really seem like they were fully prepared for the pace of this double duelist competition. Yeah. Obviously, not as many EMEA teams are running that one. And in the first few rounds, they really got overwhelmed by that one. And in the late round, they weren't able to recover in the same way they were in the first few maps. It does seem like this team at times has been quite reliant on like individual performances in the late round to recover these maps when the initial game plan fails. And
a lot of the individuals found those moments. But you know what? You had 9 champions on that stage. But there's only one player we want to talk about, and it's the guy who's kind of the rookie in this situation, and that's Sam, who has truly stepped up. We constantly praise him, Mimi, throughout his time on NRG, but just the fact that he manages to just be just a rock for this team when they need him most has been so awesome to watch.
Yeah, he's just so consistent. His first event at Tier 1, he performed at Lock-In, went to Americas, was performing there, and now in his first match on stage here in Japan, he's kept that form. He was super impactful in a few of these maps, had some large impact plays, and is also just a guy who brings such good vibes.
You know what? It's not flashy. It ain't crazy. He's not trying to do some shenanigans. Sometimes it can be like that one. Sometimes it can be, not inadvertently maybe, but the point I'm trying to say is that he just sticks to his guns, and his guns always shoot straight.
Yeah, but I think that he has perfect balance between the two, between knowing what he has to do, what he's placed, and the execute and yada yada, but also in this clutch moments, he goes back to being the streamer that he is and has this crazy plays. No, but many people think that they can translate what they do at home to doing it here. Most people do not get these results.
Yeah, they don't. And remember, he's been on the scene for a while now, but he still replaced Marv ahead of this one and is performing in such a big way for NRG. I think really what defines this team isn't a star duelist, isn't some crazy individual. It's the consistency of their supportive players. There are games where you're like, oh my god, Sam is just going to save him. There's games where it's Crashes and Victor whose consistency brings them through. NRG really is a team where you can just look to anyone to save a round, save a game for them.
Yeah, no, I think NRG is truly represented by the sum of all of its parts, just as you said, Mimi. And, you know, another one of those parts that had a great game today, as expected. That leads us to our Verizon high-speed moment of the match. It's Crashies. Let's go back to map 1, shall we? And see this bonkers play from him as he saw 3 players pushing up heaven and says, pop, pop, pop. And he manages to just send them back, and he lets them know, too. And also, I got to figure out what kind of gum he has here. What is he finding in Tokyo? You know, his
Some like special Japanese. Do you think it changes for event?
He has to.
It's
He
no,
has
it's gotta
to
be
at this
consistency. He's so good at every event. He's got the special gum. We actually asked him in Americas. He wouldn't tell us. Even though we asked him off camera, he wouldn't tell us.
Yes.
Kinda screwed up.
So you know for sure that he's brought gum from Americas to play here?
Oh,
I think so.
something's
gotta be the
something's
same
up.
gum, man.
Maybe we can get some answers, as a matter of fact, because that actually go ahead and send us over to the stage, because we have Yinsu standing by with our Verizon post-match interview with Finesse.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy and the Des. That's right, I'm joined by Finesse, the IGL of NRG. First of all, congratulations on your revenge against NAVI. I know FPX Copenhagen, they were the ones that knocked you out. But I think a lot of people are saying that this NAVI have more weaknesses compared to the last one you played against. Now, you faced them twice. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, they don't have artists.
Because they don't have artists, therefore they're getting
it's
debuffed?
a big weakness not having artists. Artists had an insane game versus us when he was on Chamber. On that team, but no, I think they just had a little bit of an off day. We feel like we should have 2-0'd them. We had a really good lead on Lotus and we threw it away. It's our map pick. We should have been able to close it out, but they still are a very good team. I just think we had their number today.
Both of you guys are very prep heavy, anti-strat heavy. I know you guys like to do that kind of preparation coming into a tournament. How difficult is it? Because in EMEA, teams always say, you got to prep for the possibility of a Yoru, you know, sometimes like crazy stuff like CNET on Omen. How did that affect your preparation? And were you expecting the Yoru today?
Yeah, actually. We were pretty certain they were going to play it just because that's their last comp that they played, but we also knew there was a possibility that they wouldn't. So we did prep for both. But yeah, I personally was expecting it, and yeah, like you said, it is difficult to be able to read it until you get into the server, then you see the comp, and then Check can kind of tell us what to do. But in general, yeah, it's way more difficult to read comps here, for sure.
Lastly, out of all the teams here, Na'Vi, they have changed the most comps in regular season, I think 20 at this point. You guys, not quite that experimental, but you did also experiment. What are your views on, you know, keep changing comps here in and out, or do you think it's better to just stick with 7 comps across 7 maps?
It's definitely good to have 1 or 2 at most. I don't think anything more than 2 is viable just because you kind of have to be able to remember everything, and that's kind of tough. So 2 is usually good. We have about 2 comps a map, and it works out for us for the most part. But yeah, I mean, for example, in our franchising games versus C9, we had to switch a comp right before we played them. And it's one of those things, it was like 1 day of practice. So as long as you have players that are capable, it's possible.
You definitely have players that are capable. Thank you very much, Finesse, for joining me, and good luck in your next game. I'm going to throw this to the Prime Gaming post-match highlights, but after that, DRX and EG will be taking the stage.
At one point in time, the cores of these teams were considered the best in the world, and now they find themselves in an unlikely battle here in the Tokyo group stages. It's NRG taking on NAVI, and this is what professional Valorant is all about.
This entire half, this lurk.
His timing may be everything here. He has no idea. Never had a shot. The second shot delivered from Sugetsu. 4 on the round and 6 for Navi. Navi without fully understanding what's before them. Is it a B hit with Artis here? Is it A? You just saw Crashy's mid. And Artis gets 4. A Prime Gaming flawless for NRG. Either way, NRG still have the site. Remember, this is a lighter buy for Navi. And Sam's going to clean it up with 3 on his own. Make that 4. As NRG take a 1-0 series lead. Angel just narrowly staying alive. There's a showstopper, and it gets 2! The defenses from NRG crumble as CNET gets 4, and it's a round for Navi. We're tied at 9. Perhaps to get to.
Spike's not down yet.
2v3, they've got to commit to the spike. Finesse! Almost able to hold it. How did he get it down? Artist left in a clutch, and Sugetsu with 4! And it's a 14-12 win for Navi.
What a comeback win.
Up in heaven. Oh, Finesse, what on earth was that?
I'm sorry, what?
Attack off in the hands of Artis, and he gets 2.
Kills are just coming in 2s. Ah, no, not
How
again.
have we seen this twice? And now he's got the showstopper victor with a 3rd. Checkmate. NRG take down Navi.
Incredibly important opening match.
This is Sadie. She's on Verizon, and she has the new My Plan, where she gets exactly what she wants and only pays for what she needs. She picks only the perks she wants and saves on every one, all with an incredible new iPhone. Get iPhone 14 Pro on us when you switch. It's your Verizon.